Hello, my name's Larry Sefton, and what I'm going to do is talk about uh, what I call the Scorcher II, something that I made myself. I've had several people ask me questions about it, what its capabilities, can I do certain things with it, and that's what I'm going to elaborate on so that that people have a better idea of its capabilities. First of all, it's in an ammo box. The ammo box was just because it was easy, it was the right size, and they're relatively cheap at Harbor Freight. You get them for about 18 bucks a piece, on sale for 15. So that worked great. It has two transformers in it, one that I would call on the low side and one on the high side, or the more powerful one. Basically the range of this is anywhere from about 5 amps to output to 50 amps to be able to make your wire do what you want it to do, heat up. It has, each dimmer controls each side. This would be for, again, for the low side, and the high side. So basically what it does is, an explanation, this side is for certain size wires, and it can be either for large diameter or small diameter. It depends on the resistance of the wire and how much time that you want, or how much detail you want in the temperature. So this one might use, let's say, a curve or a group of wires from here to here, and then the other side will use one from here to here. So basically what it does is give you a range of being able to use your wire, a lot bigger range. In the middle, both of these, some of these, let's say if you're using 16 gauge that's 4 inches long, both sides will work perfect on it. But if you're trying to use a long wire of, let's say, 22 gauge, believe it or not, let's say it's 6 inches long, you'd have to use the high side or the more powerful side, because thin wire, nichrome wire, takes more resistance, so it takes more power. On the flip side, if it's very short, you'd probably want to use the lower side, or because you can fine tune that a little bit better. So it's counterintuitive whenever it comes to which one you really need to use. It's more trial and error for it. There is a fan in the back to keep it cool. Ironically, I don't think that you really need the fan, but from an engineering standpoint, whenever I was in some machine design, you always put a fan in just to keep it cool, even if you didn't, even if it really maybe not needed it. It was just to be on the safe side. There's two fuses in it, one for each one of the transformers. If you get a short or short out one of these, it will blow the fuse. They're just simple little fuses. Most of us have seen these. They're just the little glass fuses. They're about maybe 25, 50 cents a piece if you blow them out. And later on, whenever we do this, we might just blow a fuse just for the fun of it. Now, let's talk about what it does. I just put on a foot pedal. I always use it with a foot pedal for safety reasons, so that if I walk away, it goes off. I don't have any power on it, and I don't accidentally leave it on. And let me tell you, that is from experience talking, because not this particular one, but one of the other battery charger ones I did, 5 hours later or 6 hours or some other period of time, I did come back, and here my thing is sitting on the table, red hot. I got up, got a phone call. Who knows what it was, but yeah, that's what happened. Obviously, I laid it on something like this glass plate that prevented it from really doing any damage, but it was something that really bothered me. I said, I'll never do that again. And as you can imagine, about maybe 6 months later, I did a second time. And that's whenever I finally put a foot pedal on everything. When I push on the foot pedal that's down on there, you'll see this light come on. That tells me I have power, but neither one of these two sides are lit up. If you push the toggle switch this way, you'll see the red light come on. Push the toggle switch this way, the other side comes on. So let's go for the low side. Now, what you'll see is it clicks off, and the first let's say 25%, this light doesn't come on. It's not getting any power. But these rheostats like this, you have to turn up and then turn it back to get very low power. But you'll see it actually get brighter as we turn it up, and that's just indicating that it's getting more and more power. Okay. This side would be the same thing. You turn it up, you'd see it there, and then you can turn it down, turn it off. So I'm going to turn both of them off. People said, is this safe to use because you're putting out 50 amps over on this side? The answer to that is yes, and we will see that in a little while. The next question that always comes up, can you make a bunch of tips or brands for it, scorching? And the answer to that is, I've made so many of them, and this is just one box of them. So you can see the box of them. I've made everything from really large ones. I don't know if you can see that. You can see that. That is about 2 inches in diameter. That's number 12 gauge nichrome wire. Down to little bitty ones. Let's see if I got one here. This particular one right here is 22 gauge nichrome, and you can see just how small it is. So again, those are some of the ones that I've made. We'll set this aside. I was asked if you can use standard hand pieces with it. The answer is yes and no. You can use standard hand pieces with it all day long. The big thing is, if you turn it up too high, you'll burn out your hand piece because it has more power than the standard units out there, the commercial ones. So, and they set them so that you can't really burn out your hand piece if you turn it up the whole way. Very rarely will you do that. But in this particular case, you can turn it up, and you will burn. If you go too far, you will burn it out. I have never burned one out yet. I'm waiting for that day. Now, you just saw me put a pigtail on. You see a lot of your hand pieces have this type of phono jack on it. You can buy these all day long on Amazon. Just make sure you get a heavy enough duty wire, and you want one with silicone wire on it. And don't try and make it yourself. You can, but it's cheaper to actually buy it yourself than trying to buy the wire and all the terminals and everything. It does not come with terminals. It'll be bare, and you'll have to put your own terminals on it to fit and crimp them on. This particular one is a signature one. It has the little ball on it. You can just put it on, and we'll turn this on and turn this up and heat it up. And it'll heat up quite rapidly. And you can see that it'll actually write a line already. There it goes right there. That's end grain. Let's go to the side grain. And you can turn it down to where it is absolutely just warm. There's another version of it. Jacques Vessler, I showed this a couple times, how he does his signature. He makes his own tips, and I think this one looks to be about 16 gauge nichrome wire, bent over, peened over with a hammer while it was probably red hot. Grind it down to a point. You don't want to, I don't know how sharp of a point he has. This one has a pretty sharp point on it. You want it a little bit dull, but it will, it writes fine. You can write with it. Still needs a little more heat. You can really make a small signature with that particular tip. Now that is with the phonotype. If we flip over and take this off, let's change over. You can buy one for a standard, well, the other type, I call them ear jack plugs, but a couple of the brands use this type of plug. You can plug it in, and in this particular case, if you look, this is a for doing basket illusion, and if you were to put this on, we'll turn it on, get it good and warm. Hopefully that's the right temperature. We'll see here in a second whether it's the right temperature or not. And this is the one I would use for basket illusion. Could go up just a little more. I'm not even at half power yet. There we go. And that would be for your basket illusion. So the point is, you can use regular hand pieces. Again, this was available through Amazon. Just make sure you get the heavy enough duty one. They make light duty ones and heavy duty ones, so get the heavy duty one. Put that down. Now let's talk about its capabilities. I've changed over to a different hand piece, and in this particular case what I wanted to do is show you just a piece of 22 gauge wire. This is just a very short simple loop or a U, and why I wanted to show this is probably about as fine of a wire that you would probably do in pyrography, because of this type of pyrography, because it bends so easily whenever it gets hot. It also loses its heat quite rapidly every time you burn, but it usually recovers very quickly. One problem that you have with fine wire is whenever you start using any type of big connectors, like you'll see later, the wire does not want to sit right, and you got to make sure that it's in there. So one thing to do before you start using it is make sure that everything is tight and that you got a good connection. Otherwise, it just won't, obviously just won't work. In this case, I'm going to flatten that out just a little bit before I turn it on. And I'm going to set the power right about there. And go ahead and turn it on and see how it brands. Now you'll notice that this has a curve in it. I do that so that the heat comes up and I can see better. Also, if I'm inside a bowl, I can go like this and put it on the inside a lot easier. But let's just see how this one works. This is a U shape. And it just takes a second or two for it to reheat. And there would be your design. Again, that is 22 gauge wire. And in some cases, what I might do is come back with this and just put a little dot in the center. If I could quit shaking so bad. And then you can do something like that. Side. Let's go to the extreme. Let's go to the extreme. We'll need to put this back. We'll put this one down under the table. Now what we're going to do is take a piece, same 22 gauge wire, and that is approximately about 5 inches long in total length. But I can tell you right now, I'm not even going to think about putting it on. Well, let's go ahead and put it on this side and see what happens. Let's put it on the low side. I am not sure where you would use this, but it is kind of interesting to use this type of wire. And I can tell you right now that I can turn this up the whole way. So I'm just turning it up the whole way. And we're going to see if it'll heat up. And it doesn't even hardly get warm. I'm not going to touch it, and if you look here, you can tell that it's just bare. If you come up to it and touch it, you'll see that it does, if you hold it there, it does try and scorch it just a little bit. So that tells me I have to go to the other side. Okay, we're on the high side there, and we're going to go ahead and heat it up. And I'm going to turn it up as hot as it'll go. Now technically, because of the amount of amps that it's putting through here, I should be using a heavier gauge wire on this. It is restricting it a little bit, but we should be using something like a number 10 wire on there. But you can see that it is red hot, and you can start doing things, making lines with the hot wire. Again, that recovers fairly quickly. Okay, but that's an extreme. That's pulling probably about 50 amps right now. Now the question earlier was, is it safe to use? You're putting 50 amps through that. The thing is that it's 50 amps, but it's at an extremely low voltage. It's under 6 volts. We'll tell you that. So watch this. I'm going to wet my fingers. Okay, I'm wetting them, and the only thing you got to be careful of is it's starting to heat up. So I got red hot, heating it up, and there's my fingers shorting it out, and that's why I say it is safe. You can take water and pour water down that thing and really not do any harm to this, and use it almost underwater to keep it cool. So that's, I just wanted you to see that it is safe to use. Now let's go to the other extreme. I've changed over to a different handpiece. This is a heavy duty handpiece. This particular handpiece has number 10 wire on it, and the reason for it is I'm going to be pulling a lot of amps through this one and the other one that you're going to see. This has number 12 nichrome wire. It has a loop very similar to the other one. And now the issue with this one is if you turn it up on high and crank it up, there's such little resistance in this that it'll actually act like more of a short, and will blow a fuse on it. So what you want to do is turn it on and slowly turn it up to the point that you want, so that you don't go too far, and bring the light up and let it normalize, but don't turn it up too far and too fast, otherwise you'll blow the fuse. There we go. Now it's red hot, and you can turn it back down, and if you look, it really isn't drawing that much power. I am at about 25% of the power, and then you can make your brands and do your scorching the same as what we did with the other one. And that's 12 gauge wire. And you can see how fast I can do those. Now, this is probably the heaviest duty handpiece that I have ever used. It has actually 8 gauge wire on it. You could do this with the 10 gauge wire without any real big trouble, but I did this, I made this handpiece so I could do something for a long period of time. Now, look at the size. That is 12 gauge nichrome wire. And that nichrome wire is probably close to 17 inches, 7 inches whenever you go the whole way around the circle. So we're going to turn it back on. And we know that we're going to have more power, so we'll turn the power up on it. Power's going up. I'm slowly turning it up because I don't know exactly where it is. I can see it turn cherry red now. There it comes. You can see how it's red. Let's back it down a little bit. And that is not full power. I have tested this, and I'm not going to do it right now. You can turn that up the whole way and actually melt that wire. So let's go ahead and make a couple burns with this wire. And there it is. Okay? That's probably about as big a wire as you'd ever want to use. I have used 10 gauge nichrome wire with this. The question came up sometimes whenever you use a handpiece, it gets too hot in the handpiece, and that's mainly because this heat here that's generated has to go somewhere. So it usually goes into whatever your wire connector is, because if it conducts electricity, it's going to conduct heat. So it usually conducts heat, and then you have to dissipate the heat some way. That's one reason why I have the longer leads on here, plus being able to bend it. It dissipates the heat, comes in, there's air holes in this to dissipate the heat and keep your hand away. Sometimes after maybe using it for an hour or maybe a half hour, it starts getting too hot, or it gets warm, and maybe not that uncomfortable. The easiest solution to that is get yourself some silicone, highly flexible air hose. This is 1/8 inch, I believe, and put it on a small aquarium air compressor. The aquarium air compressor I have is relatively high end. It's quiet. Be careful when you buy them. Some of them are really loud. So get one that is quiet. Spend the extra $10 and get the quiet one. So anyway, and that whenever you do that, run it through here. You don't even know that it's on there, and it will keep that handpiece where you can use it all day long without any trouble at all. And if you do it a little bit, sometimes I tried it. I poked a hole in it one time to see if it would blow the smoke away, and that doesn't really work. So anyway, that is one way of keeping it cool. Really, I don't have much more to tell you about it. It does everything that I want to do it. So I'm going to just turn it off here, and hopefully I told you a few things that you haven't known about them.